Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again. And it's just a quick update on the latest James Bond installment, No Time to Die, which was originally due for release in cinemas on the 3rd of April, but it's been announced that it's been pushed back now and it won't be out in cinemas up until the 12th of November this year. Now this is because of the outbreak of the coronavirus, which is continually becoming a more and more serious issue globally. You know, it initially emerged in China, and then we've seen over the last couple of weeks and months it carry over to European countries, and especially now in the UK. We've seen cases increase more, and it's really now becoming quite a serious, I wouldn't say a catastrophic issue, but it's becoming quite a serious consideration now for particularly European governments now, and how thoughts on how to combat it. So the studios have taken this into consideration and decided to push back the release. And in the short term, it makes sense. You know, at the end of the day, if you can't maximize your earnings because you feel that people won't be able to attend cinemas to watch your movie, you want to move your movie to a later time when you believe that there's more chance, more potential that people will be able to come back and revisit cinemas. Therefore you can sell more tickets, therefore you can make more box office and make more profit. So it does make sense. I know a few people have been critical of this and saying, well, how many kind of deaths have we experienced in the more European countries? Is this a sign that No Time to Die is too reliant on its international box office as opposed as its domestic box office? But again, you would feel that, right? You know, if you look at previous James Bond installments, a lot of the market share of its box office does come from international markets. In fact, it's not just for James Bond. You'll find that's a lot for most big time blockbusters, where you'll probably get about, I would say, 40-50%, maybe even 55 to 60% of the overall box office take coming from international markets. You'll have many blockbusters in the past. I can remember the likes of the fourth Transformers movie and the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean movie. They had very moderate successes in the US domestic markets, but the foreign box office kind of saved them from being box office disappointments into box office successes. So the international box office is very important for these big time blockbusters. Yes, the studios, they don't take as much of a percentage of the foreign take as what they do from the US domestic take, but it's still very important to have these expanding markets where you can maximize the box office profits as much as you can. You know, China, we know, is a very big concern because that's primarily where the coronavirus has taken effect the most, and they've had to shut down a lot of their cinemas because of the outbreak, and that's going to affect a lot of box office films. We think of Milan, for example, going forward. So it was very smart of them to do this, very, you know, common sense to do it. I don't really have an issue. I know people who maybe booked their tickets already may be a bit frustrated. I don't know what kind of refund policies they may be able to look into to get their tickets maybe put on hold or some sort of pending status until the film is released later on in November. So that's the only real kind of controversy I can see from that. Of course, the president does it set going forward, just in case the coronavirus continues to expand itself going forward. Are we going to see this from future blockbusters? Because as I said, most if not all of blockbusters, they do rely on the international markets box office. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of statements we get going forward. Let's say from the like of Black Widow, Wonder Woman 1984, going forward, Fast and Furious 9. Again, that's another franchise that very much relied on the China box office. If you look at the previous installments, you know, a huge chunk of the take, we're talking 350 million plus box office was from the Chinese kind of market. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do in the next up and coming weeks as we see the developments of this coronavirus going forward. So, yeah, I don't really have too much of a major issue with it. Again, it's just smart business, smart commercial sense. Just taking out of the limelight for now, and putting it in a period where we can hopefully see this decline in this coronavirus and get more people to go back potentially to the cinemas and theatres going forward. So yeah, no, not a big issue for me. There are people who are very cynical and say, well, this is just to cover up the fact that they're going back for reshoots, and reshoots always comes with a bad rep about it. If you're going back for reshoots, it means the initial screening, not many people were happy with the original version, and you're going back and altering and changing things. Does it mean there's upheaval behind the scenes with the production? So reshoots always come with this bad reputation, but I honestly don't think that's the case. I just think it's a case where they just want to maximise their box office. And it's James Bond, it's one of those where it doesn't have to be a summer blockbuster. James Bond has that global recognition. And the Daniel Craig movies have been very successful, the most successful amongst the whole James Bond franchise. Skyfall took in about 1.2 billion when it was released. Spectre took in, I think it was close to 890 million when it was released. So this is a very successful box office franchise, and I think the studios just want to make sure they keep on track with that. Especially this is going to be, we assume, the last Daniel Craig installment, so they want to make sure that's a very big success before they can go on rebuild and cast in the next James Bond going forward. So yeah, but that's not really a lot more we can say about it or speculate. Again, it's just a case of what it means going forward for other big films, other big blockbusters. Are they going to look at this example and take the same action, particularly if coronavirus continues to expand further, because it's becoming quite a big concern now if we think about it going forward. So those are my thoughts really, and just my updates on that quick announcement. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is it a big concern for you? Do you think they were right to do this? Do you think they should have just stood firm and gone forward with the release date, especially with a lot of people, they would have booked their tickets in advance already? Do you think there's been an overreaction to the coronavirus itself? Again, we're seeing a lot of people getting infected, but they are being treated. I'm not seeing a lot of death tolls as such. In the UK in particular, you think the UK has a population of around 57, 58 million, and so far there's been 85 cases so far of people getting infected. So that's a very small sample comparatively to the population size. But again, it is a concern, as we've gone from very small amounts to increasing amounts. So maybe the studio, that was their concern, that there was an increasing level of cases being found. There's been no kind of cure or preventative so far. We've had a lot of medical staff saying that there's no way you can prevent this coronavirus. There's no kind of antidote that they've managed to find so far. So that was in their consideration. So just let me know what you think in the comments below. Those are my thoughts. I'll provide you more updates on the James Bond as they go along. And take care of yourselves for now, and I will see you very soon.